hello.
Hi.
And welcome back to our home office.
Yeah, we haven't been here in a while. I mean, we've been here like every day, but I mean, you haven't been here with us in some time.
So welcome to our final Jewel of the Seas video.
Can you believe it? I mean, we really stretched this puppy out.
Of course, we're talking about Royal Caribbean's Jewel of the Seas. We did a 9-night Southern Caribbean sailing, back in February. So in case you're behind on all the action, you want to get caught up, we do have a playlist of all the videos that we'll link to, and we've done everything we can think of except give our final review, which this is something new. We haven't done this before.
We've never done like a full-on review of something that we sailed on, so we're gonna do something new today.
Yes, we've created a rubric that we hope to use going forward for other ships as well.
We kind of wanted to make something to where it was an even playing field, so you can, if you're comparing ships or trying to decide which one to go on, this may help you a little bit. So that's our plan. Stan.
Exactly. We don't consider ourselves critics or anything like that. But
oh no, and I mean, for the most part, we're always pretty happy with everything. Like it's not too often we're like, oh man, that was miserable.
No,
like,
we're not like that. That's why it's Hoffman happy travels, not Hoffman miserable travels.
Oh, that would be so sad. We're not trying to be critical or anything like that, and certainly not negative or anything. We just want to provide the most unbiased. We're trying to give a basis of what all this ship offers and scale it according to that.
This is just trying to be as honest and genuine as we can for your benefit. So if you're trying to compare and decide, you'll know. So to give you a breakdown really quick of how we're grading this, we have 5 categories that we have ranked on a scale from 1 to 5. So 5's the number.
5, 5, 5, 5 alive.
Ooh, public spaces, accommodations, activities, entertainment, and dining.
Yeah.
Of course.
Pretty much everything on the ship we felt like we could put in to those categories.
Number 1 was public spaces. So what do we mean when we say public spaces? We're talking for Jewel of the Sea specifically, the Centrum.
Yes.
Central Atrium. Shopping, which they had the shops at the Centrum.
Yes.
Pools, we're talking the main pool with the movie screen, the solarium pool and solarium area, the sky bar, the whirlpools, all those different things, and then of course lounges. So we had the Diamond Club, the Concierge Club, Vortex, Pit Stop, Vintages, Schooner Bar, Safari Lounge.
I think what is good about this ship is that I thought it offered a decent amount of lounges that had pretty different vibes to them, so I did feel like you got a variety. My favorite was the Safari, just because it was so comfortable and it was so big and it really worked well for what it was meant for, like doing like nightly entertainment, like kind of like club style kind of music.
We didn't spend too much time in the other lounges. We passed through the Schooner Bar a couple times. I always like the Schooner Bar just because it's cool, nautical themed, ropes and ship's wheels and dark woods.
Fun stuff.
We did spend a little bit of time kind of around the Pit Stop, which is the sports bar.
Yeah.
Interesting to note, our sailing included Super Bowl Sunday. During the Super Bowl, it was packed.
Yeah.
I don't even think you call it standing room only. It was kind of like squeezed through to get to the casino room only.
Yeah.
Other than that,
yeah, there was never
ghost town.
Which is kind of unfortunate because it's a pretty cool lounge. I like just that it was a unique theme. Like you never see things, like I'm not a big NASCAR person, but you never like really see stuff decored that way. So that was pretty cool.
That was cool. The Centrum kind of also made our top 5 in the sense that encapsulated the overall aesthetic and feel of the ship centrally the best. It was all culminated right there.
I think it was designed very well. It was very comfortable to be in, but very beautiful to look at. And what I really appreciate about how they designed it was all the little alcoves and stuff where you could sit. You could look all the way straight up to deck 12.
Yeah.
And it was nice because every single deck there was seating there for you to look down and watch the band playing at night or people dancing and everything like that. It was a very relaxing place to be in and very comfortable. It made you feel like you were a part of it without being stuck in the middle of it. You still had like kind of private time with who you were with.
Pool if you've ever seen us or know anything about us, we don't really do pools too much.
The main pool was definitely just like any other cruise ship. It was always pretty busy.
Very basic.
There wasn't really anything to write home about it.
It did have the outdoor movie screen, which almost every ship has that nowadays,
Yeah.
and this one was fine.
The pool deck really had all the basics. It had the loungers, it had the rectangular pool, it had the whirlpool, jacuzzi kind of things, but there was nothing about it that made it stand out or special.
Conversely, right next door
Yeah.
was the solarium. With the solarium pool, this was awesome. I actually swam in this. I mean, I wanted
Yeah.
to go swim in the solarium pool, and we don't ever, like we said, do that. It was that nice.
It has like an Asian inspired theme. Like the roofs are kind of like the like pagoda
Pagoda
kind
style,
of things.
traditional Chinese or Japanese architecture.
It had these big elephants and had like this big gong and a little bridge. It was just, it was nice. It was pleasant and it was very calm in there.
In the day, they would pipe in bird noises, and at night, they'd pipe in cricket noises. And they'd
Yeah.
also do colored lights on it at night and stuff. Of course, the roof is all glass, and it actually retracts open and closes. Just a really relaxing space. It was never that crowded in there. Really great space overall. Then there was the shopping, which we're not big shoppers at all.
We actually did go in some of the shops, and I will say the merchandise that they had in there, like we didn't go in the fancy stores, like we didn't look at what kind of perfumes and jewelry they were selling, but we went into just like kind of like more of the basic gift shop where you can buy toiletries, or you can buy like merchandise like Royal Caribbean hoodies, shirts, or any of that kind of fun stuff. And I thought they had a pretty good variety in terms of that. Like I saw several things that actually said Jewel of the Seas, and then they just had a lot of other Royal Caribbean merchandise too. So that I thought was nice.
I think what kind of dragged this down, like we said, we're not big shoppers, but we can compare it to other things we've been on. This was called Shops of the Centrum, and it was literally like, here's the art gallery, and you just kind of walk through a hallway, and there's
Yeah.
some shops on the side.
I definitely feel like it was very congested in there.
Yes.
Like you were kind of fighting traffic a lot of times when you were going through there. And plus they had like this big desk in the middle that kind of added to that like bottlenecking kind of thing.
So, all in all then, when we talk about the public spaces, we have big pluses for the overall design and aesthetic, lots of art, lots of really nice touches, especially in the Centrum. Big plus for the solarium pool.
Yes.
Big plus for the lounges, the safari lounge. Maybe some areas that weren't as good, you know, like the main pool and the shopping. But all in all, we gave this a 4.
Yeah.
A 4 out of 5. The hits, I think, were bigger hits than the misses were.
Yeah.
You know, that didn't take away from it. It was just kind of like, oh, okay, it's
Yeah.
fine. It's not as nice. Number 2 on our grading rubric is accommodations. So we're talking about the cabins here, where you're staying. And we base this on cleanliness, style, and options. Cleanliness was great.
I remember when we first walked in, it smelled fresh in there. It smelled like, oh yes, this was just cleaned and it's nice and I feel completely comfortable being in here.
They took care of it every day. Now, obviously, there could be some variation with your personal attendant, but ours was great. So, you know,
Yeah.
we can only rank it on that. Style, I think this was still good. This is where it starts to slip a little because of the age.
If we're looking at it just based on that it is an older ship, I think they've done well in maintaining stuff. However, if you're looking for a modern kind of room, or you're looking for like, oh, this feels brand new, it doesn't feel like that.
No.
There's definitely some things that are a little bit worn, maybe
A little
like
bit dinged, a little bit.
a little scratch. It's definitely a bit dated in terms of like the style and the like the decor and stuff like that. Like I give it a lot of credit because I would have expected more for an older ship, but if you're looking for something to look immaculate, this isn't it.
One other area that we would talk about with accommodations is options. Meaning, if you look at what Jewel of the Seas has to offer as far as staterooms, I'll actually show you my handy dandy Royal Caribbean travel agent guide. You can see these are the different kinds of rooms that are listed. You don't need to read them, you can just get an idea. So these are the different interiors, the ocean views, the balconies, and the suites in the different class. And there's options,
Yeah.
but if I was to flip over here to like an Oasis class ship, look, you can see this is a full page. The point being is that on these older ships, and again, it makes sense because it is an older ship, they didn't have as many new innovative features. So it's not going to have things like a virtual balcony interior. Right. It's not going to have a spacious promenade view, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
This ship just wasn't designed like that.
I think it has everything that it should have. It has, you know, it has the core. It has interior, ocean view, balcony, suites. It doesn't really have anything like special or unique.
When we look at accommodations, how many you can choose from, how they're designed, and how clean it was, we gave this a 3.
Yeah.
A 3 out of 5.
3 is average, and I feel like it was pretty average.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way. We completely enjoyed it. We were comfortable in there the entire time. There wasn't really anything really bad. There wasn't anything really superior. So kind of ended up in that 3 mark.
So now we will move on to number 3, which is activities.
No, activities.
They don't sponsor us. So what are we meaning when we say activities? We're talking about like the daily kind of offerings and events. So trivia, doing puzzle type game situations, those sort of things. We're talking about the fitness things, running track, fitness room, the spa, the gym, all that. The sports courts, how many physical activities can you get into? Things for the kids, rock climbing, cinema, pool tables, those were more specific to Jules. So I think basically you might sum it up as dynamic things like the daily offerings that are always changing, and then static things that are concrete and put in the foundation that you can always go to.
Part of the ship, part of the crew, part of the ship, part of the crew. If you watch Pirates, you know that. Pirates of the Caribbean, that is.
So this is kind of important. Specifically for Jewel of the Seas, this category is kind of what's gonna define this.
This will help people decide yay or nay.
Yes, I know as travel agents, when we speak to clients and they're trying to decide what to go on, it's usually most of the time they wanna know what they can do. Let's talk about it. Daily offerings, we did some of these. We did trivia, we won.
We won a pen!
More than one.
Yes.
We won several.
We won 2 pens!
I think we actually won more than that, but...
We won lots of pens!
They did have, every day, I will say they did have things listed on the cruise compass like this. They even had smaller things like you did the numbers, Sudoku.
Over in the Safari Club, they had a little table that had like board games, playing cards, but they also had a stack of daily Sudoku, so they would change it out every day. So if you are someone like me and you like want to do your daily puzzle, you can go get a different one each day.
And I thought this was a big hit for them. Royal Caribbean, in case you didn't know, lately has been adding escape rooms to their cruise ships, and we actually did one on Mariner of the Seas. We'll link to it. So we didn't really show it because we didn't want to give it away, but we talked about it.
Yeah.
So you can get an idea of that. Jewel of the Seas does not have an escape room, but what they did was kind of like a quasi escape room game. Where they gave you a packet of information with clues and puzzles and riddles to work out to ascertain who was the criminal or whatever.
Who done it?
Yeah.
I commend them for doing that because I feel like you're listening to what people want.
Yeah.
And people really like escape rooms, and even though you don't have the space to put it in on your older ships, the fact that they made basically an escape room to go version and put that in as a free activity, I thought it was really well done. It can change from sailing to sailing. It's not concrete on what they're gonna offer in terms of those daily offerings, things that you see in the cruise compass. Like we had the quasi escape room, but maybe it won't be on your sailing. So it can fluctuate and it can change.
When it comes to fitness though, the spa, we ain't the right people to ask. Let's just break it down like that.
I mean, we're definitely we're not gym people, but we did spend some time in there because they did like a raffle the first day, and we checked that out. And I did think the fitness area, it seemed large. It seemed like if you were into fitness, it would have everything that you would want, from like, you know, lifting weights,
free weights, and resistance machines, treadmills, bicycles. They had yoga mats. They had, I know they did classes in there. Yeah, they did have daily classes that you could sign up for, and it is a fee to do those things. And like most ships, it was kind of out at the front, so you had a glass floor to ceiling window so you could see out. That was nice. Yeah, and the running track was just outside the fitness area. Something we actually did do was we always play basketball. Yeah. And this did have a basketball court, albeit a small one. Yeah. One hoop. One rim. Netted all around, and there were soccer nets on either side too, but it was a very small area. But they had it. It was something that you could do. And one other place we spent a lot of time right next to the basketball court was the Fairways of Jewel, which was a mini golf course. We enjoyed that. I will say it wasn't my favorite. It wasn't very clear where each hole started. It was kind of just like, oh, turn here and now go. There wasn't a starting marker. So, you know, like she's dated. Probably the best way to put it, but it was up on top on deck 13, so the only things on deck 13, so you did have a great view. We saw a nice sunset up there, and we enjoyed playing. Again, it's something to do, so it's definitely a plus. It just wasn't as nice as other ones. Kids, we can't really speak to too much because obviously we're not kids, we don't have kids, we didn't go in the kids areas, and there were not very many kids at all on this sailing.
I can tell you what they offer. They do have Adventure Ocean, which is for the kids, and they have different rooms or different areas of that kids club that they separate them by age even further. And then across the hall, they had Fuel, which was the teen area. And right next door, they had the arcade.
Yeah, and it was smaller than other ships we've been on, but I thought it was nice. I thought it was well kept up. And they had modern things in there. Kids could also take part in the rock climbing. That was one of the things that Jewel of the Seas had. And it was on deck 13 as well.
Yeah.
So way up, you got a good view. You actually did the rock climbing.
Yeah, and it was a pretty view. Rock climbing did have 3 different climbing zones, and I did hear one of the people working there saying that like some were easier or more challenging than others. So that is nice that it did give a little bit of a range.
So then other big features though that Jewel of the Seas had, one thing that was pretty nice is it had a cinema.
Yeah.
Showing some first run movies and some older things as well.
The outside was very neatly designed.
Yeah, it had a nice entry, so that was cool. Don't get us wrong, like this isn't an IMAX. It's not a Dolby Digital. Like it was pretty basic and old looking, but it worked. It was right next to the casino, which every Royal Caribbean ship does have Casino Royale. This was no different. This was split into 2 sections, smoking and non. Lots of slot machines in here, a claw game, a coin pusher. They had roulette, they had blackjack, they had poker, they had pretty much the basics. And then one other interesting thing there, this is available on some other Royal ships, but definitely not all of them, is they had pool tables, self-leveling pool tables in the Safari Club area, so it would tilt with the ship's rock so that the balls would not roll around and move, and it worked.
We definitely used that a lot, and the pool tables are free to use.
If you wanted to get like really critical, the tables were worn, the pockets were starting to come apart, the cues were not in great shape. There was a couple of them that were fine, but it worked. One other quick thing we should mention here, we're kind of going to tie back to the pools, is that water slides is becoming a pretty common thing on cruise ships, and Royal, who's never done water slides, is starting to do them like no one else does. This only had 1 kids water slide, and it was very, very basic, and out. And it was for children only, specifically stated.
Because you ended up, after you slid down, you ended up in the splash pad.
Yeah, the kids pool area. So just to note that if you're someone who's looking for water slides, this isn't your best bet. So this averages out to a 3.
Yeah, I think there were some things that were really great. I think there were some things that were lacking. I think it has enough to get by.
Yeah.
With that being said, I definitely don't think that this is your best option if you are wanting new activities. Like that's the main thing you're going for.
Segueing from activities into entertainment, now we're talking about things that you will actually go and witness. There are performances being held.
Yeah.
So we're talking about original productions in the theater. We're talking about headliner shows. We're talking about club performances, and then the Choral Theater in general, which was the name of the main theater. That theater I loved. Very comfortable, lots of seats. Love the colors and the design of it and the aesthetic. Very nice.
Yeah, I mean, for it being the Choral Theater, they definitely like played that up a lot, and they even had like little like fish projections on the curtain when you're waiting for your show. So they had fun stuff like that.
And inside the Choral Theater, we did see a headliner show. It was the same person, 2 different shows. Phenomenal. That's something that's a little hard to grade because that could change with your sailing.
Right.
But you have to give them, we can only grade on what we saw, and we give them credit for booking that level of talent. Another definite plus, I would say, was the club Well, some were a definite plus, some were a miss. Was the club performances. Most of these were in the Safari Club and Lounge area. Some were in the Centrum. I know, for example, they had like a jazz night where they would play jazz songs with the orchestra band from the Choral Theater.
Yeah.
Then they also did a like swing night.
Right.
Big band, swing style. Both of those, loved. The only thing with the jazz was it was very quick. Night full of jazz, and it was like 25 minutes of jazz.
Yeah.
Like, boom, 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 and we're out.
It was one song right on top of each other. Like,
Bye.
the level of talent was there nonetheless.
Now the swing night, the big band night, home run.
That was great.
That was awesome. Now granted, you know, there's a little bit of subjectivity here. That's our style. Other small things that we would include in this, they did have some stringed, like violin music in the Centrum. Also other live performances, Latin, disco stuff.
Yeah.
You know, that was good stuff. Good, you were going by, you could hear it.
I will say they always had some kind of music going all the time. Like, especially in the Centrum. And then at night, like in the lounges and stuff like that, there was always something like that going on.
Although as a quick aside, if you are considering a room right off the Centrum, don't do it if you're a light sleeper or if noise bothers you, because there are some rooms that are right off of the Centrum and there's a big door that closes for the hallway, but
if you're right off where you enter into the hallway, you are going to hear it, I think. I mean,
point blank. One thing that kind of definitely missed the mark. We did go to an original production from West End to Broadway, was what it was called, in the Choral Theater. And it was billed as, you know, your favorite hits from West End shows to Broadway shows, everything in between. This is not just our personal opinion, the people that we traveled with, and also several people who we talked to on the sailing and overheard coming out of that.
Yeah.
This was like a complete, I don't want to bury it, but man, it missed the mark.
It wasn't awful in terms of like everyone was out of tune. It was just an odd show.
It kind of seemed like they took all the performers in the show and said, what's your favorite random song from a show you've seen? Don't pick something everyone knows. Pick something that you like. And that's what they did.
I was expecting it to be one of those things where it was a culmination of well-renowned Broadway hits. Things that like people hear and like, oh yes, I know that. This was just kind of like a really lot of random stuff.
I even thought maybe they'll do a random, it'll kind of tie in with a narrative that they built. There was no narrative.
You were really looking for Broadway style shows.
Theatrical performances.
Yes, if that is your thing and that is something you're really pumped for, you have better options on other ships. This is not where this ship shined.
So, taking all that into account, we give entertainment a 3.
Yeah.
I think based on the fact that the club performances that we liked were really good, the headliner was awesome, and the Choral Theater itself and design was awesome.
Yes.
However, some of the club performances fell a little flat, and the original productions fell real flat. We only have one more category. Some would say the most important. So when we speak about dining, for our particular sailing, we did eat at the main dining room multiple times.
Yep.
We did eat at the buffet, which is Windjammers, of course, if you're on a Royal Caribbean ship. They did have specialty restaurants, so on Jewel of the Seas, you're talking about Giovanni's Table, Chops Grill, Izumi, not hibachi, because that is available on some ships. This is just Izumi sushi. And then the chef's table as well.
Main dining room is included every single night. Specialty dining, those are not included. You have to pay an extra fee for that. And it's going to be different depending on which location you pick.
Then we had some grab and go options. So at the Solarium Cafe and Cafe Latitudes.
Cafe Latitude, they serve coffee and desserts mostly. I think they also had like a few sandwiches and stuff like that. If you were going to get coffee, you either had to have a beverage package or coffee package or something like that, or you paid for it a la carte. However, if you did get the desserts, you don't have to pay for the desserts, like cake, cupcakes, lots of very good stuff. Solarium Cafe.
This was a winner.
This definitely was a winner, and this is a free winner too. It's included in your cruise fare, located in the Solarium, as
which we told you about. Awesome spot.
Appropriately named.
Yep. Daily offerings of sandwiches, cookies, desserts, pizza. I think pizza was every day.
Yeah.
Prime rib even.
Yeah.
If you get there, they had some water as well. I don't think they offered other drinks, but they did have water right there. all of the food was really good, and the pizza,
the best we've ever had on a ship.
Cowabunga, dudes.
It
Like,
was
talk about the main dining room. We ate there 2 nights. The first night, I don't want to say not good because we enjoyed it, but it would have upset a lot of other people, I think. 45 minutes in,
yeah,
we didn't have anything. I think that's when the appetizers showed up. It was very obvious though that they were having higher than anticipated attendance in the dining room that night, and so they were short-staffed. Once we got the food, it was good.
Everything was fine quality.
Yeah. And some things were exceptional. The first night we had the garlic tiger shrimp, and those were,
oh my gosh, those were so good. Please,
delectable.
Please get those if you go, because man, they were good.
Then the next night, we went back to the main dining room, and this was like a 10 out of 10.
It was perfect. The service went exactly as it should have. The food was great.
So the dining room, kind of a mix there. And you know, a 9-night cruise, we only went to 2 nights. So that's the main dining room. Now let's talk about the specialty restaurants. Like I mentioned before, we did not dine at Izumi or Chef's Table, so we can't really speak to those. That's kind of an in-A thing, but they did have them. We did dine at Giovanni's Table and Chop's Grill. Let's start with Giovanni's Table. When we ate on Oasis of the Seas, because again, if you're comparing, trying to decide which ship, Giovanni's Table was literally the best meal I've ever had in my entire life. And that is not hyperbole. Giovanni's Table and Jewel of the Seas was not bad, but it was not that level.
There wasn't anything awful. There wasn't, but there also wasn't anything that really like blew my mind. Like, oh man, this is like fantastic. It was just like, yes, this is good. This is good. Yeah. Chops was a home run.
Home run.
Steaks were perfect. Perfectly cooked. I appreciated, and we mentioned in our vlogs that they brought us all the sides that they offered for us to share with the table, and when we were on Mariner, they didn't do that. We had to just pick which ones that we wanted, and it seemed a little bit more limited, where on Jewel, it was just, yes, eat, enjoy, have fun, and it was great.
That's kind of how we would wrap up the specialty dining. We had one that was okay and one that was exceptional. So that leaves us with Windjammers, the buffet. If you saw our top 5, this was numero uno. That's number 1.
I think that the quality was very good. The options were great. What really hit home for us was that the seating was
plentiful
and our ideal, which is eating outside in open air and watching the ocean and stuff like that. And usually on a cruise ship, it's so hard to get outdoor dining seating, because by the time you get there, everyone's already else taking it away because they want that too, because it's limited. But there was so much outdoor seating.
I like that they did special things like make your own pizza, where you take it, put all the ingredients you want on it and give it to them. They throw it in the oven. They had nacho bar. They had create your own like stir fry wok.
It felt special.
Yes.
And everything I had was really good.
Really good. And it was always clean in there. It was top marks.
Yeah.
Top marks for an establishment like that. One other thing we should mention that Jewel of the Seas didn't have, I guess is the better way to put it, is not as many specialty dining or dining options in general.
I feel like they have most of the original staples. Yeah. Like Chops, Giovanni's, Izumi, and then, you know, Windjammers. They have stuff that I feel like that's kind of what they, I don't want to say that they started with because I don't know the history of Royal Caribbean, but just things that you see pretty commonly. They don't have a lot of the new dining options that they've created in recent years.
Exactly. Given all of that, we gave this a 4.
Yeah, and I think that's fair because there was stuff that in my mind was perfect. It just wasn't everything.
So looking back over our list here, public spaces we gave a 4, accommodations was a 3, activities was a 3, and entertainment was a 3, but then dining was a 4.
Yes.
So you add all those together, that's a 17 out of a possible 25 points that we could have awarded. If you average that out, which of course is assuming that you value all of these categories the same way, you weight them the same way, that would give you a 3.4.
As we said previously, this is a 3.4 in terms of just what they offer on the ship and the quality that we feel like that we got.
So yeah, I mean, obviously this is just our opinion. Maybe you went on Jewel of the Seas and it was a 5.
Yeah.
Maybe you went on Jewel of the Seas and it was a 1. You know, we can only go based off of what we experienced. We're just providing that to you as somewhat of a reference.
If you're trying to relax, I think this is a very good option. If you are really trying to do a lot of things, if you're trying to do a lot of activities and you want to be all go, 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 there's better options out there for you. If it's an itinerary that you really like and this happens to be the ship, I don't think you should sway away from it just because it's a 3.4. Nothing like that. There's some things to consider that you may not be getting that you could get with another ship.
Yeah, and I think that's a great way to put it. And speaking of itineraries, I think this ship would serve certain itineraries better than others. So,
Yeah.
example, Jewel of the Sea's sister ship, Radiance of the Seas, is currently doing cruises in Alaska. Most of your cruise focus in Alaska is going to be looking and taking in Alaska.
Yeah.
That would be good for that. These ships have the most glass of any class of ship in Royal Caribbean's fleet. So it would be good for that.
There is nothing on this ship that would make me not recommend this ship.
No.
It's just really more so what you're looking for and how this hits those marks.
I think that's the best way of putting it. Why this score, if in your mind you're thinking it's low, what might have brought it down to that point is that I think for this ship to be perfect for you, it needs to, you're gonna have to kind of fit it into it. You're gonna have to shoehorn it, basically.
I think it's ideal for some forms of travel and some people, but not everybody.
So, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Hopefully our handy dandy rubric will work. And when we do future sailings, we'll be able to review. So if you're looking at going on Jewel of the Seas, hopefully this gives you a pretty good idea of what you can expect.
If you're thinking about this ship and if you have any questions that we didn't cover, leave us a
I
comment.
do respond to all the comments on our videos, at least as of right now. As long as we can keep up with them, we will
Yeah.
keep doing it. If you're interested in booking Jewel of the Seas or any of Royal Caribbean's other ships or any other cruise ship in the world.
Yeah.
We are travel agents and our services are complimentary, so we're always happy to help in any way we can. Reach out, we love to hear from you. So, for the last time in our Jewel of the Seas video library.
I'm kind of sad it's our last Jewel of the, I mean, I wasn't expecting to feel sad, but it's so
Goodbye, my love.
right? It feels like such a journey that we've taken with this ship. It's like a bird leaving the nest. It's a hard goodbye because we had a lot of fun on this ship and we had a lot of new experiences, but on to the next adventure.
For the last time, based on Jewel of the Seas, we will sign off saying, happy travels.
Happy travels!